Hey everybody, it is a safety doc, and guess what? I forgot to run the starting show stuff. So I've been kind of looking like, why aren't more people commenting? It's because I never started this as a show. So, oh my God, I feel thankfully with Lisa, like I've got the official show stuff going on, but I feel we missed out on it here. So that's crazy. So I guess it's because we just got done with a great show with Lisa. Hey, that was great. Um, but so yeah, as I was sharing it just to nobody just a little bit ago, this external drive is dead. This had all of the Safety Doc podcast on it, except the last 10, which were stored locally. But this had the raw files. So it had all the video, the raw video, it had the raw audio, any graphics, anything I added. So about 2 terabytes worth of Safety Doc podcasts, 181 episodes, and it's gone because the drive failed. So I took it to the local tech place, a guy who worked on this computer and stuff like that. And then he got hold of me this afternoon. He said, "No, I can't recover anything." But he did throw out like a lifeline. Um, he said there is. So what this, I guess, what the consequences, what it means. All the shows are out there. The shows are on YouTube. The shows are on Podbean. So the actual final version of the show, they're out there. So you can see the shows on YouTube. So all the rendered finished stuff, but the raw stuff is gone, which I don't know if I would ever really go back and do stuff with that with the raw content. But there were like songs that I had downloaded that I paid through my membership to have that are they're gone now, and I can't re-download them. And just there, other things. I kind of keep my show notes separate. Like I keep those in a separate file. So like all the blog posts, those aren't gone and those are still over at Safety PhD. And realistically, I'm not sure I would have ever accessed this stuff. But now for sure I won't. But the tech guy said, he goes, so he took the thing apart and he showed me, he said, there's two parts to this, right? There's a motherboard and there's the platter. And he said, the platter's spinning. It's not really making any crazy noises. And so he said, there's a chance that the motherboard is bad. But then, right, we would have to find another motherboard and just replace it, which didn't seem like that big of a deal. Like he said, that's not very complicated. But finding it is more difficult. There weren't many of these produced, these 3 terabytes. So just while I was down there, he went online and he did find a couple motherboards. I think one was like $90. And so he said, let me kind of move, play around with this a little bit. And if I do find one that matches exactly, I'll let you know and you can make a decision, And I said, I would probably invest like $100 total into it and to swing for the fences inside. Cause he said, if the motherboard was out and we put one in that worked, it theoretically would work. Like, and then I could harvest things. But I said, outside of that, I'm not going to do anything. And the fact is, you can send these things to service. There's services like in Madison, not far from us, where you can do these things. But yeah. So Bolo brings up a good point. Keep the broken hard drive. The tech will improve, no problem. So yeah, I don't intend to get rid of the drive. That's a good point. So, but these services are all like $1,000. That's what the guy was saying too. He's like, it's SSD, not HDD. So yeah. So yeah, solid state. Unfortunately, it's not a solid state. So what, so what he was showing me, he said, there's places that'll take it, but it's like $1,000. And I was like, holy smokes. Like, I'm not going to deal with that because like, it's just the old podcast episodes. But, what I do, how I discovered this was yesterday I was burning. So all the family pictures now we just take with our phones and then they get uploaded to Dropbox. So, back in the old days, right, you had a digital camera and a little, SD card and all that. Hey, Vanessa. So now it's just the phones that all gets uploaded, but I hadn't burned photos for like 6 months. And I'm like, well, Christmas is coming up and, I only have so much space on my phone and in my Dropbox. So I burned I burned everything from Dropbox over to my hard drive. And then I burned individual CDs, compact disc of the photos data, just put 120 photos on each disc. And once I had that done, then I cleaned off my phone and I cleaned off my, so the photos are gone. I empty my Dropbox. And then I also made a copy of all of the photos on an external drive. So the photos now are all on CDs. All the photos have always been burned to CDs as JPEGs. They're on an external drive, and then they're also on an internal drive. So we've got redundancy in these systems. I don't do cloud-based because I don't want my stuff being out there. And that was the thing here. I didn't want 2 terabytes of data in the cloud for the show that I'm probably not going to access. Now, what I should have done absolutely is I should have added a second drive that I back this up to. So what I did today, this afternoon, is I ordered 2 5 terabyte hard drives. They'll be here tomorrow, external, and I'm going to back everything I have up to 1, because I have less than 5 terabytes total that will get backed up, especially now, because once I'm just downloading the shows, I'm not downloading the raw video and audio. So, but yeah, so that is, that's, I'm going to do that. Yeah. The Rossmann group, right? Yeah. So, Lewis, I could quote it and send it to Lewis. So I'm doing a, what I'm going to do is have a backup, and then I'm going to back that backup on a second 5 terabyte drive, and then I will separate those physically. So right, and again, you can say, well, you can put stuff on the web. I don't know, man, and there's a good point. I don't know who posted it before, but once Andrew did. This proves we are living in a digital dark age. 1,000 years from now, people won't know. Right, because 1,000 years from now, who's going to be able to access the drive, right? When the even like a USB port is starting to become antiquated. So unless you're really continuing to evolve your digital storage is going to be archaic or arcane, right? So, where a picture, and even in the old days, right? Like the cellophane, the proofs, right? The negatives would only last so long, and they would get brittle and they would discolor and things like that. Like when I had 35 millimeter camera, like those things only lasted so long. So then you store your pictures, right? And hopefully in boxes that have acid-free paper. But these things only last so long. If you think back, like, my grandparents, when they were growing up, they probably had a photo album with 100 pictures total, like for their entire life. From when they were little to 25th wedding anniversary to on, but so we also live in this age when literally I burned 1,500 pictures on yesterday, so that we took in the last 6 months. So, but I feel bad. I feel how should I say, like it was a real downer, obviously, because again, I don't see a situation when I would ever probably need those. And the other part is I'm not sure what software. Probably a lot of it was Camtasia, which I still have, but some of the early shows were on software which I don't even own anymore. Like that probably doesn't run on Windows 10. And so there is this thing where there's some functional obsolescence maybe that would have been on this drive anyway, but Aaron Clary, so Captain Capitalism, right? So those of you that follow Cappy, he contacted me, about 6 months ago and said, "Hey, Doc, I'm missing the first like 50 or 75 episodes of my podcast when he moved out to Rapid City." And he said, because I don't know, thumb drives or hard drive, whatever, but he didn't have it. And actually the first, like, I think 25 shows he did or 50, like he lost, they were on some hard drive. And he talked about that years ago on one of his shows. But about 10 years ago, maybe, I contacted him and I said, "Dude, would you send me a thumb drive of your shows?" And he did, and actually sent it to me in like he put a regular stamp on an envelope, and it was like all kind of bent up this orange thumb drive, but it still worked. And I saved all of that. So when he contacted me like 6 months ago, and he's like, "Do you have these shows? Do you still have these shows?" I'm like, "Yes." So I recopied them over to a thumb drive, and I sent it out to him. So I was actually just going to share it like in a shared folder, and he's like, "No, no, no, just thumb drive it out." But yeah, it feels bad today. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like it feels this doesn't feel good. So I think a M disk burner may be a good stopgap. Let's see, Doc. I think those go up to 25. M disk. What is that? I'm not sure what an M disk is. The computer itself is being really slow, which I hope isn't a bad sign. Um, oh, verbatim. M disk is a write once optical disk. So it's like a lifespan, 1,000 years. So it's a data DVD, archival. I didn't even know that existed. So it's archival. Um, yeah, preserves photos for 1,000 years. 4.7 gigabyte per DVD. So wow, that's interesting. Now the question I would have on that is, right? Will that be so? Right, preserves it for 1,000 years, but in 100 years, who's going to have the DVD drive to read that? Right? Do you remember? Does anybody remember when Walgreens used to have in their photo area, like bring in a DVD here and we'll turn it in, or bring in a VHS tape and we'll turn it into a DVD. Like I remember that at our Walgreens, like that was kind of a big thing. You could convert your VHS tapes over because people don't have VHS tapes anymore. When I was coaching basketball, I mean, I still have a few VHS tapes. I don't have a VHS tape player of some of the games, and so yeah, I think there is this thing unless you actually get the stuff printed off. We're in this kind of weird time, right, where we can take a lot of photos, and I feel like I am freezing up here. What is? Just hang on here. Let me let me see what's happening here. Um, so let's yeah, I see Lewis is in Texas now. So yeah, well, people have the software to read, so which is a really good point. Well, and I don't know, man. Oh, I would, just think of the stuff we've already gone through, floppy disk, and then so I don't know. Trying to just kind of do in the moment diagnostics here. Seems like got a little bit of a jittery dance going on here. So I don't know what's going. It's going on. It's pretty atypical. But I have to see. The computer hasn't been kind of this it's kind of been a little glitzy here since yesterday when that drive I had that drive issue or that external hard drive. So I don't know if like a couple of reboots here will fix things and what's all going on here. So let me just check a couple things here. So it's really strange. It's really strange. But Andrew brings up a really good point. Um, so yeah, I look at this drive and I'm like, maybe in 5 years, I was walking last night. I walked on a track because I was pretty upset because it wasn't working and I just anticipated there would be bad news, which there was today. And I thought, if anything happened to me, I'm out biking and I get hit by a car and I'm taken out, and my family is looking at is looking through stuff when they got to this drive, they're probably not keeping the drive, right? And they're not going to do anything with it. So, um, but yeah. Um, so what I'm going to do starting tomorrow is I'm going to download every show off of YouTube, all of the regular shows, the 194, and then download the video, and then I'll go into Podbean, download the audio, and then I'll just keep building on a new drive, and then boom, I'll make a copy of that drive. But yeah, I had a friend of mine who always said she kept. God, there was a company that you could. I mean, you could now do like your Google Drive and stuff like that. But again, like who's going to pay that and who's going to keep that up when you're not around? Like this online drive, and that you're going to be able to access and download these files, and even that you'll be able to read these files, right, Andrew? Like, but she was saying, well, if anything happens to your house, house burns down or something like that, like you'd have to, um, you could retrieve your data. So, but yeah, the other thing is like, right, I don't want a lot of my data out there on the web. Um, so, which I just think is a natural thing, right? Like if you or any of your uh, if it was financial data or anything like that, I mean, I'm not going to keep records of of that in a Google Drive. So, but yeah, so yeah, Jim's saying it's yeah, optical. So yeah, Mike, I don't know. I mean, things seem okay now, but I'm gonna have to really watch the computer here because everything was good yesterday, and it was kind of around the time that the drive never was working yesterday. Um, but it was around that time that the computer started to kind of get glitchy. So and there's really like nothing running here in the background that should cause that. And again, we've had this camera for a while and this setup, and this computer was upgraded this summer. I'm running 64 gig of RAM, and so I'm not quite sure what should be what's going on here. I just ran a check disk, and that was okay. And none of my drives are approaching capacity. No, everything's looking good on my main drives. Let me see if optimize. There's just something really crazy here going on with optimizing one of my drives. No, those are looking pretty good. Optimize. There's one that needs to be defragged. I don't know. I don't know what's causing this. So there's two drives it's consolidating, but these aren't like the main drives that should be doing this. So I don't know. Probably like good timing here to back things up because maybe the whole system is about to go puke. So what in the world is going on here? So yeah, kids today can barely read English books from 1500 years ago. So yeah, to be fair, English didn't exist in 1580 the way it does today. Spelling, grammar are all vastly different. Bacon, that would be one of the few, if only, uses for an English teacher. So, translating dialects. Wow. So, yeah, all the drive diagnostics look okay. So, man, I don't see anything that's strange. optimize. Like I don't know what's going on. But again, because I had the drive down there, I know it's not related to this machine because the dude's like, I ran it on all this stuff and I couldn't detect the drive either. So what the hell is going on here? Not to beleaguer this. So let me just do this. I'm trying to figure what I got running in the background, but God, there shouldn't be anything that's sucking the juice out of here. Yeah, I don't care about that. There we go. All right. The disk might survive, but no one can read it. So yeah. That's one thing is we always but we do print off pictures. So that's why, I put like about 120 on a disk and then my wife will go through but again, that's right now you can go through and, spin them up on a laptop and put them into walgreens.com and whatever and get them printed off. But at some point, I don't know will these services exist? Is a Walmart going to have a photo center or a Walgreens or, like the printer before I had this printer, you could print photos on it. You could buy the photo already, the 4x6s and put them in there and it actually worked pretty well. But this printer doesn't have that. And, I don't know. I think it's a good question to ask of like where are you going to get these photos printed? I mean, it's probably going to become a very specialty thing online before long because I just don't think a lot of people are printing physical photos. I mean, they might be using printer paper, right? But actually on photo paper, I don't think that's happening a lot. So, yeah, we are entering, Andrew. You're really right that we're getting on to some really strange kind of psychological stuff. Like the fact that we're capturing the most information today, right? One phone can store, as many images, right, that maybe an entire library would have had 30 years ago. But, we are also in a situation where we're not making the print copies of these things. So if we don't have those print copies of it, yeah, I don't know. It's a lot to think about. All right, my girlfriend just got here. Have a great. Oh my goodness, Uke will see it. So, Uke staffs. Send me some staffs. So, I know they are better. 4.7 DVD is super common now, but it's being superseded by 25 quality Blu-rays. But yeah, I don't know how long they'll last. So, good questions, right? So, yeah, this is a really kind of deep debate type of question. And actually, Andrew said with people getting dumber, everything going digital and the stealth editing, censorship, no one will understand this time in history. Yeah, and the fact that you can manipulate things digitally, right? And the creation of digital content and avatars and deepfakes, and probably 10 years from now, people are looking back on that. 50 years from now, I'll be like, I'm not sure if this was true or not. Was this just something that was edited, right? I mean, if you had a photograph from 100 years ago and you're looking at it, you're saying, yeah, it's likely that is an authentic photograph, right? If you're looking at it of a digital photograph taken today, if you're looking at it 100 years from now, you have to be like, I'm not sure like that's actual or if it's like green screen or, whatever they had back then. The Epic Times is still available in paper and disc media. So, yeah, take a look at the movie FX. I think I saw that once. I haven't seen it recently, but yeah. So yeah, kind of a prompt to action. So I ordered the 2 drives and we'll see if the tech guy gives me a call and says, hey, like, I tracked down this motherboard here for $50 if you want me to give it a shot. Um, but so I remember when I was growing up, we had um, seems like video and audio's coming through better. Like I don't know. I've got to do a little work here and check what the hell's been trying to consume the the bandwidth here. What's going on? Or if I got to do an update, or if, I don't know. Um, let's do this. Um, Jeez. Um, all right, I'm just moving over. Last updates were installed on the 9th of November. Okay. I'm just trying to see if there's anything really obvious, which is contributing to this. I mean, all of the USB ports are working, so it says you're up to date. So, I don't know, guys. I don't know. So, yeah, I remember watching Star Wars in '77, thinking that was incredible special effects, which it was. So, um, so yeah, so that's the public service announcement: is back up your data. I also spent a lot of time this summer consolidating data and then getting rid of stuff I didn't need. That was taking up space. Although it's kind of crazy, right? Because like, what is space? I mean, because terabytes maybe like what, 30 bucks, right? So I mean, if what is I'm saying, like, if it's a hard drive, or now you can get like a terabyte thumb drive. So like, do you just keep it for the sake of keeping it? But I was trying to organize things, and like a lot of my early university stuff, I was I was cleaning out, um, because I don't need that. It's all outdated. I'm never going to use it. If it was in paper copy, I would have gotten rid of it by now. So that was kind of my thing of like, will I ever be using some of this stuff? Um, but yeah, it was. I was doing that, and I need to go through again on my Google Drive and thin that down, because I'm not going to just keep adding stuff to the Google Drive. But we do become kind of hoarders of our digital stuff, right? Like, you can, what, $25 a year of a terabyte on the web. Well, you know, just think about these, how careless we are with just like putting stuff out there. Like, nobody really takes the time to curate stuff anymore. Because again, remember that picture, I said I took like 1,500 pictures. A lot of those were on vacation and things like this, but and a lot of them were like probably redundant. So here's a picture. We're at a lighthouse, and I probably took like 25 of these to see if get one of a good angle that we might use on a Christmas card or something. But you know, 20 years ago, when we would be using, well, probably digital camera, but 30 years, a 35 millimeter, you have to be really careful, right? Because if you roll a film and 24 photos, and so you might like take 2 or 3 photos in that instance, and really, but after that, because it costs money to develop it, and so I think people are just more selective, and now we got this redundancy where we almost create this situation. Oh, you got to go through like all these photos, where realistically 30 years ago you're probably going through 5 rolls of film. I don't know, if you're when the kids were young, I remember, we would take a lot of pictures. But even when I'm out biking now, I've kind of changed my approach to that. I used to take more pictures when I was out biking, and now sometimes I don't even take a picture when I'm out biking. But otherwise, it's maybe like 1 or 2 pictures, because I don't need to interrupt the biking with a lot of pictures. If there's something that kind of catches my attention when I'm biking, and be like, just the way that the hill is kind of greening up over there, and and the fact is, like, I'm here, so when I look at this picture, like, my background right now on my computer is one of my favorite spots to which actually I'll just share it. Like, you guys might have seen this before. So this is my so that's a photo I took a couple years ago, and that's a side road, and actually that is within half mile of thousand-year-old Indian effigy mounds. It's a half mile from the Wisconsin River, and um, so this is a dead end road. Now I'm actually going away from the dead end road to a regular road, right? But I usually bike when I take this path. I'll bike down. Let me see here. Let me bring this. Here we go. I'll bike down this road, and then I will kind of like just I'll eat my lunch, and there's like a house further down here, but it's cool. There's like a train track over here too, and um, so it's just a nice place to chill off the beaten path. So for me, like, this has a really, when I took this photo, like, everything's green, and I just remember how warm it was, and just it's always a really nice ride around there. So it brings up really good memory, like, good. But normally I'm not out there taking a lot of pictures. So yeah, imagine, like, if you're a YouTube influencer, like, I would think after a while that would get to be pretty crazy. Um, so let me see here what the we've got a delay between the what I'm saying and what is on the what's coming through here on the display monitor. And maybe that's part of this. Um, I know there's a delay setting. Let me see this. So yeah, that's a pretty substantial delay. Um, I think that's done on YouTube. I think it slows down the chat. So I guess I got to go in and check that out. So let's see if I can do that right now. Um, all right, let's do this and this. Dun, 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 dun. Oh my goodness, Aaron Clary is doing one. So, all right, let me see if I have what the settings are on here. And then if there is a setting option here for if I can see if this is being slowed down. What is going on here? All right, stream settings. Yeah, this is what I want to look at. So, no, I don't want to create a highlight video. Excellent connection. So that's good. Oh, there should be some feed. There's usually like a delayed, there's a chat thing here. No, that seems to be good. Trying to see if anybody, if you kind of know what I'm talking about here. So stream health, stream is healthy, stream is excellent, it says. So, well, that's interesting. Crazy. Okay, I don't know. I guess we'll just. I don't know. I I I don't know. I think it could be this UCAM tennis messing stuff up a little bit, but that should have caused problems before. So, all right. As much as the superfan screamed that he found out the Joker's real identity, still my favorite. Really great score and soundtrack. Rip Prince. Yeah. So, like, imagine how many takes that took to get right, and the James Bond clip of the stunt double running on the crocodiles, right? Yeah, it's yeah, Batman shooting the grappling wire to hook the Joker to the statue. The art of special effects, and now, right, people just jumping in and not just jumping in, but the CGI, generated special effects and uh, I would argue the art of, back like in 1982 or 83, HBO had that feature thing where they had a whole scale of a city, like on a ping pong table type thing, and then they had the camera slow motion in on it, and that was a big thing, right? A little bit of fog, they would a little bit of that they would artificially, put in there, and that was all done just through this. I think it was this whole. There's a whole video on that whole HBO special effect thing of that, and and today, all of that could be done by one person, probably in an hour. Um, so I don't know. Yeah, this is some deep thinking, right? Because like all of this technology, and I think this data storage is really key. I mean, imagine, so these are Safety Doc podcasts, and I can still pull the rendered versions out there. So like, and the big thing of humanity, not a big loss there. I can fix that for the most part. And was I ever going to go back and re-render show 22? No. Um, but if this is if this is all of my kids' photos from when they were growing up that I ever took, right, and I had them on this drive, and that was it, and now this drive isn't there. Yeah, I mean, there are probably a lot of people then who are going to pay that $1,000 to try to get that recovered. Um, and the massive loss like you would feel, and that's why, like, but people don't think that way, or they just keep all of that on their phone. I don't know, it's a weird thing. If you guys kind of know, or you have your own thoughts on that or your own experience with that, but yeah. Um, so let's just do this. How to change delay on a YouTube podcast. So something with stream latency. How to change stream latency on um, so how do I change? All right. Jeez, I don't want to read a big thing here. Prepare your devices. I guess. I don't know. Um, encoder settings. Holy smokes. I don't know what any of this stuff is. So focus on camera and audio, lighting. So none of this really makes any sense. I don't know. Crazy. So to me, like, the image looks great. It's just there's a notable delay, because I have my monitor over here, which is showing what it looks like on YouTube, and like that is, so here 5, and it's 11:05. So I just did 5. It's not showing up. It's not showing up over there. It's not showing up. It's not showing up. It's not showing up. Man, it's still, so it's like 20 seconds, probably 25 seconds. So we have a latency here of over a half minute between what I'm saying and probably at least like 45 seconds now. Um, right there. That's almost a minute. So so you're the only one with an intermission. Was the intermission lost? No, we still have the intermission. So it is still there. Was it lost? So it's uploaded here and I still have it. So the intermission shouldn't be lost. That's actually a good question. Let me go in the file. Was the original one? I think it's still StreamYard intro, alt intro. Da, 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 da. Let me check if I sponsor logos. No. I might have to. That is a really good question. I might have to ask for that back. I think I can download it back out of here. Let's see, miss audio clips, intro to all shows, fire intermission. It's a good question. Let me do this. Firewood, intros to all shows. I think I would have it tagged as intermission though. Let me hang on with me. So I don't know why I would have put it on that hard drive. And I don't think I burned after that. Trivia break. Oh, that's from old time though. I used to do a trivia break. Yeah. Geez, I don't know. Okay. Well, I mean, that brings up a good question. So were none of those shows on that drive not uploaded to the site? No, they all the shows on that drive, at least that I can remember, because it should have just been podcast on that drive. All of those were uploaded. So there isn't any mysterious episode, right, that I didn't upload that's gone. So everything was there. What I lost, so what I'll do is I'll go into YouTube and I'll start downloading all those files. So if you go to the playlist, there's 194 episodes or whatever. So I have the last 10 on my hard drive. And typically it would burn over because they're so big because, right, you have the raw video, the raw audio, and then usually I was mixing those together in the early shows. So I had about 2 terabytes worth of that, plus some graphics, images, maybe photos that I used during the show and stuff like that. So those are gone. But the actual shows are still there on YouTube, the rendered ones, which everybody saw. So I'll download those, and I still have all the rendered audio that's leveled on Podbean, all the episodes. So I'll have the final versions. I just won't have any of the ingredients that went into them. So hypothetically, like if I ever moved off of Podbean, and who knows, like if I would really do that anyway, like I don't know how much audio podcasts are, like, if they're still as big as what they were, but I would have all of those rendered files on my drive, like that. So, and who really goes back to episode like 22 and whatever. So yeah, in that regard, like these aren't lost to the ages. And the reality was it was unlikely I was going to go back. The only thing was there were some things like I might have had in an episode. I wanted to go back and harvest a graphic to use again and something. So that's opportunity's gone. But realistically, I wasn't going back to this and pulling stuff off. So, but you do bring up a good point with Swamp Dogs intermission, because I have it's uploaded to here. So I don't know if I could like download it from here, or actually, I don't know if I because I'm not seeing here that I have it um, anywhere, and so I guess I would need to contact him because I'm going on my local drive. Um, this is really interesting because it didn't make sense to kind of burn that over. So I don't know where it is. Um, you can, you can. I got one area. Hang with me here. I'm gonna check. All right, 405, 405 STP episodes. Nope. Huh. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get a hold of Swamp and see if he can send that back to me. Send it back to me. But yeah, so we have like a 1 minute latency going on with this. So I think that's something strange. Um, and things feel a little glitchy here. So 1 minute latency in YouTube podcast. Does anyone have any shows, by the way, or any questions? Live streaming latency. Event being displayed. There are 3 options: normal, low, and ultra low. And this isn't 4K resolution, it's highly interactive. Ultra low. So, So decreasing your, I don't know. Have to see what's up here. So it's strange. Yeah, this is something that's just quirky in the system to the point where I'm like, I might even have to get this thing checked out. So all right. Dun, 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 dun. Simultaneous. Vanessa posted about simultaneous backups all at the same time. So yeah, let's go in here and check this again on this latency. So I don't know how to adjust this. How to adjust podcast latency. How to adjust YouTube live stream latency. Go to YouTube live at the top. Click on stream settings. Let's do that. Let's do stream settings, which I can't even find actually. So, can I edit this? No, probably not a good thing to do. So it says it's live. So I'm trying to get to stream settings. What the hell? This is where I'll actually have to watch a video on this, I guess. So, just this bit ago, it was telling me like that I was, how good the show was or wasn't or whatever. But settings. Oh, playback speed. Normal. That's not, I don't know. Well, we'll just say the hell with it. So Man, I don't know. I don't know, guys. So I'm going to do a latency thing again here where I'm going to do 5. Let me do that. Let's see how long this actually takes. So I'm going to do start. I'm going to count up. Oh, okay, here we go. And then I'll tell you when it shows up on the monitor screen, how many seconds later. Might be on the StreamYard again. Try taking yourself out and back again. So, all right. So I'm going to tell you how many seconds. Okay, so you're watching that, and right now I press it, and it is 39 seconds for latency is what we've got going in real time here. So 39 seconds. So that's not normal. So this system is really slow tonight. So you're hearing this 39 seconds after I'm saying it, and that just I can tell it's really out of sync here. So take yourself out and in. So let's do that. No, keep on. Right, I'm back. So we'll see. These are huge. See, Linus Tech tips for complaints about raw format. So yeah. Wow. Okay. So, well, I don't know what to do with the system too. Like I said, it's just really quirky tonight, and I think it's been wonky since I did that. Since I burned all those photos yesterday and burned everything over to the hard drive, the whole system just seems. But I don't know what diagnostic to run because I'm running like check disk and everything is fine. So, all right. Well, you know what? So we had the show with Lisa Lenny. I thought that was awesome tonight. And that's the type of show, those are the topics that need to be discussed and they're not discussed, right? So Jim's saying I wouldn't worry too much, Doc. So yeah, hopefully, like the thing is, like I can actually see that it's how much it's off. So, but yeah, just roll at this point. So, um, but yeah, with Lisa on the show, that was really cool. And those are the things, in school administration, for example, but just in general, but in school administration, you have conferences and professional development. And it would seem first aid and CPR should be, well, required for one. And then outside of that, like, just these discussions, you know, what do you do under the scenario where a kid runs into a woods and toward a body of water and the whole trespassing thing, and just to get people to think like discretion decision making what they would do. And I do that in my classes, but it's really it's deep stuff, and you don't see this at conferences. People don't talk about this, and I think they don't do it because they're like, I don't want to be telling you what to do. I don't want you to take this as advice. So you go and you follow a kid and you break your ankle um, on somebody's property. You're like, I went to this conference, right? And this presenter, whatever, said this, or the State Department of Public Instruction used this as a case study. So I think people are really terrified to do that. And I think, Lisa alluded to that tonight. Like it is a gray area. Not alluded, but just overtly said it's a gray area. But but I'm like, but these are the discussions we need to have. And when I keep running the same thing, okay, Bacon's saying there's a lag between StreamYard and YouTube of about 30, 40 seconds. So But wow, and see, like, when I responded in the so here, "Hey, bacon," and it's right over there in the chat. So the chat is, like, real time. The video's not quite there. So, um, I don't know, man. S So, but yeah, I think that's really, really well. Um, Set YouTube to not auto next. It does it anyway. Sets autoplay to on. Okay. To not auto next. All right. I'll have to do that. Um, but yeah, so these people want to do these discussions, right? Of what makes an effective school board, is their keynote or something like that. I'm like, oh, I guess maybe, but you need to do a breakout session where you're talking about things like this. Um, the the law of necessity, and yeah. So, but the sign's been awesome. So it's good stuff. Um, so as far as me, yeah, I've got some consulting stuff I worked on today, which was good. I need to follow up more in the next couple days on that. Some bigger decisions. Kind of the biggest thing with that is it. Oh, funny thing is when you comment on YouTube, it shows up delayed in Streamyard for me. That is, I, I don't know what's going on tonight, man. The whole thing is just it's been a wonkapotamus here tonight. So meet now. I don't even know what the hell that is. Meet now. How can you? What is? I don't want to do that. I don't. Let me just see what's running in the background. I don't know what that is. Oh, no. Firewall's on. Just see what I've got going on here. Google Chrome is using your microphone. Google Chrome? The hell's that about? Allow access to microphone. Huh. I don't know if I've seen that before. Run UCam on system startup. I don't know if I should. To have UCam, two UCams running? There's 9. There's 10. What the hell's going on here? Okay. There's 2 versions of UCam running right now. 9 and 10. That shouldn't be happening at all. It should just be one of these. So I think that's a problem. Yeah. Weird. I know this isn't making for a great show, but it is strange. Toy Town. So, um, yeah. So, yeah, the Lisa Lenny show, I'll have the blog post up for that tomorrow. But I, I, I look at that and I'm like, God, we need to be, so the whole kind of public safety, personal safety, like there need, I think an emphasis right in this. If it's a week, I think it has to be more than a day, but um, and it just seems like everybody should be able to define the Good Samaritan law, um, and they can't like have some working definition and know what it is in their state, but like we don't talk about that enough, if at all. Like I don't remember that. It's one of those things we hear about, but I had to look it up in the books, right, to even see what it was. And the thing in it gets tricky because it usually has like during an emergency, but then where there's been lawsuits with Good Samaritan law, it's like, is it still an emergency, right? Like um after something has happened, right? So, if Good Samaritan, I don't know what the scenario would be, right? But you've taken somebody away from a burning building, and then I don't. There were these cases where like then people try to follow up with people afterwards on like their well being or something like that. It's more complicated than that, but then they'd be like, well, it wasn't. Then it's not an emergency anymore. It's not imminent. So there was just this part of it which has to have this emergency part to it. Um, but this is where you need a few case studies. You need a couple stories around that era. You know, again, the whole thing of like, if you give the Heimlich maneuver and you crack somebody's rib um, in the process, you're not going to be held liable for that. Like even that kind of statement and have a commercial to that extent or whatever. And um, but to get people in the right frame of thinking. So that's where I've been thinking about what in the world? I didn't notice this. All right. I've been thinking about, if I were to do another book, which I don't know, but I would want a chapter just on this kind of complexity where people are weighing their decisions much more, I think, than they did in the past. And part of it is like because maybe someone is videotaping you. So what if you did something you think you're acting in the best interest, but now there's this forensic video of it, and they're like, oh, like that, you know, that you didn't do that technique right for, CPR or whatever it was, or um, I don't know. I don't know. I think there's more to that. Forensic. I think there's this concept of everything being hyper analyzed forensically. So everything that we do gets hyper analyzed forensically. So I think that's a big issue. So let me bring up the camera. So what do you guys think about this? Like, is it I don't know. There's a agenda you can connect the calendar to, which I don't understand the thinking on that. So interesting. Yeah. Settings. Okay. I don't know. I think what's going on with the camera is that it's being I've got those two versions of UCam up, and I'm not even sure like see I've got this going on, but then that other UCam is running. I think it's causing problems. So yeah. But yeah, that was a great show with Lisa. So let's see here. Let's bring up our other run UCam on system startup. I don't think I want to run it, right? Capture device. Logitech Brio. That's right. What the hell's going on here? No. I don't know. It's not. Whoa. Legendary guitarist Keith Levine is dead, 65. So, yikes. That's not good. You'd think someone's whose life you saved wouldn't have legal action in mind. I already have reservations helping someone not in my circle. Yeah. And so it's a good point. And Another thing, right, is what if somebody overdosed on fentanyl, right? And if you approach them and now are you going to have a fentanyl reaction? I mean, I think those concerns are new, where they weren't really prevalent 10 years ago. But now, right, if you see somebody and they seem unresponsive or they are unresponsive, right, and you go up, um, right, this whole thing of because there's these little things, right, where they'll say like, if you have a penny and it's got a little dusting of fentanyl on it, and if you happen to take that in by skin or inhale it, like that could kill you, things like that. So I know it's first responders, right, in the protective gear and the way that they're responding to overdoses is changed, but now that's where I think this whole thing of responding. I mean, it's maybe one thing if you see like an accident unfold in front of you, but maybe it isn't. Maybe an accident is caused because someone had overdosed, right? Or so I just think there's these parts where you're like, it's your own self-preservation. You have to weigh, which is bad to be thinking that way in some aspects, right? But at some level, um, right? I I mean, if we interviewed someone who was in a first responder position where, they're frequently responding to overdose, like several times a week, to have that thing of saying like, what are, the considerations or the of, okay, let's say that here you've got your protective gear on and all of that, but you're going down the road and or whatever, or somebody says, hey, like this person needs help, and you go over there and you don't have gloves and a mask or whatever. What do you do? Like knowing your background, right? Of knowing. So I don't know. Um, so Lisa had that thing called the open fields. Was it the open fields doctrine? Yeah, open fields doctrine. I'm going to bring that into my. Um, I'm going to bring that into my next class. So it states the open fields doctrine, also open field doctrine in the U.S. law of criminal procedure, is a legal doctrine. A warrantless search of the area outside of property owners' um, curtilage does not violate the Fourth Amendment. So, is a fence considered curtilage? Curtilage is actually the word here. Curtilage. Property outside of a fenced area is not considered curtilage. If there are multiple fenced areas, only the fenced section that involves a primary residence is considered curtilage. So, what are the four factors of curtilage? I didn't even know that. These are things like you wouldn't need to know necessarily, right, in school administration, um, but I think this, as Lisa said, the open fields doctrine would might come into play in that scenario of like the child goes onto a property and it's 80 acres, right? What is the I don't know. I have to have her maybe talk a little bit more on that, but so I didn't know that any of this. So wow. Um so here's from the Merriam-Webster dictionary. A doctrine in criminal procedure, this is open fields doctrine. Law enforcement officers may make a warrantless search of the area outside of the curtilage of a person's home, which would be like the outside of the fence, without violating the Fourth Amendment. So, open fields rule, also known as. So, interesting. I don't know exactly how we would put this into rescue, but so just saying, like, I own these 40 acres, um, according to the open fields doctrine, law enforcement could make a warrantless search of the area outside of a fence, and the fence um, would need to be close to your home. So if your fence extends out for 2 miles, it seems like that's not subject to you're not to the Fourth Amendment. Meaning, if it's I don't know, I'm not a lawyer. I didn't even know this existed until Lisa, talked about it tonight. But um, I th- yeah, so I think I've got to research this a little bit more. So the open fields doctrine states that a person cannot have a reasonable expectation of privacy in open fields surrounding their residence. Since many people in Miami-Dade have more than 1 acre property, this doctrine permits police officers to simply walk onto your land without a warrant if they have probable cause to believe that marijuana is being grown on the premises. So, for instance, if you live on an acre of unfenced land, you cannot reasonably expect to have privacy on every corner of your land. I don't know. I have to learn more about it. I got to kind of think about it, see if there's any way that would apply to any of the school safety stuff. So, yeah, let me see here. The Eep from Iponewas. Interesting. I would do a chapter just on that case study of the missing child with autism, and I would do another chapter on the case study of the child with CBD oil, where the fifth grader and the school did not administer the stuff. So, all right, what in the hell? There we go. So, all right. Well, we had a great show with Lisa. This one seems to be kind of losing its momentum, so why don't we wrap it up? And I think I need to go through and kind of check if I've got something weird going on here with diagnostics. But I'm not kind of glitching, right? We'll see how that looks. Hiya. Hoo-ya. Wah. So that's looking good in my screen. That stuff is lightning fast. We'll see how it looks on the replay here. So it seems like we're doing some ninja fighting here in just a little bit. A little bit caught up. I don't know. So, all right. Well, folks, thank you so much, Andrew, Bacon, Jim, Solitude. All right. Great show with Lisa. So I am going to call it a night here. It's going to be a cold week. We're going to get 3 inches of snow tomorrow because it's in the 20s. It'll stick around. So, yeah, that's kind of a downer. And it would take, a couple days in the 30s to get that out of here. But so, yeah. All right. So, good deal. Look at going to check. So, all right. Well, everybody, this is your good friend, the safety doc from down here in the North Star recording studio, where I don't know what's happening in the studio. I feel like it's crazy, crazy time down here. It feels like crazy time down here in the studio. So, what the hell's going on? I don't know. I'll have to do a show, I think, just with YouTube. So stream right out of YouTube and see if that's different. So I think what's going on here is I think it is pulling that post software post-production software, that UCAM stuff, and maybe that'll get shut down. So I don't know. It's really weird. So all right. Well, let me take us out of here. So all right, everybody. A week from today, Matt Dahl's going to be on the show, head of Wisconsin Esports. And wow, so these kids today, these esports teams, they're growing rapidly in schools. The colleges are building esports arenas. Kids are getting college scholarships to play esports. So yeah, let's figure out where that's at. And then also some schools don't allow esports and what the reasons are behind that. So yeah, we'll dig into that next week with Matt Dahl. So everybody take care. Cross your fingers here for the Safety Doc podcast hard drive, and wish everybody well. All right.
How were the beans and chili that you had for breakfast?
They were delicious. Thank you for asking. But now I am very gassy.
I'm sorry to hear that. Who let the frogs out? Pew, that stinks very bad. I have to open the window. Oh no, my cap flew off and it was sucked into the engine.
Holy smokes, the engine just cut out. We should use the Decide model to help us make the right decision.
Mayday. Mayday. I am declaring a beans and chili emergency.